Come here. Get off.
Hey, y'all. So, welcome to this week's episode of The Turn On. Today, we are reading reading from the book, Being Hospitable. And it is written by the lovely Meka James. It was published in 2020. So, sit back, relax, get your wine, your weed, and whatever you need, and enjoy.
Being Hospitable by Meka James. The logical part of my brain screamed no. This was not a good idea. But louder was my attraction to the sexy woman in my arms. Charlie used her free hand to tap against her lips. Here, for now. Beautiful, coy, the apple in the Garden of Eden. My lips met hers, and the taste was the sweetest of all forbidden fruits. I groaned against her and drove my tongue forward in a desperate need to have more of all she offered. Our joined hands tightened, and her other free ones tangled in my hair, pulling me close and giving as good as she got. Mine grabbed a handful of her firm ass. Pebbled nipples rubbed against me, and I pressed my thigh harder between her legs. Her damp panties, clear evidence of all she said, drove my own arousal to new heights. My heart hammered in my chest. The pulsating between my legs beat in a needy rhythm for more. I kissed her harder, letting myself drown in the perfection of the moment. A tiny voice in the back of my mind told me to pull away, to stop before things got out of hand. Charlie was the one who put on the brakes. She pulled back, her heaving chest matched my own. Without a single word, she pulled the scrap of fabric masquerading as a shirt over her head. All air left my lungs at the beauty before me. Breasts pert, nipples puckered and begging to be sucked. You are dangerous, I said with an airy chuckle. She hooked her thumbs in the waist of her underwear. Who? Lil' me? The slow shake of my head matched the slow nod of hers. She stood before me naked and wearing only a confidence that fit her well. My gaze settled on the apex of her legs. Smooth, bare, glistening, and beckoning me for a taste. A small voice of reason sounded off, warning me to not go down the road of temptation. But a 5-alarm fire burned through me, and my pussy clenched with a wanton need to feel her skin to skin. I stepped forward and placed my hands on her waist and caressed the soft flesh. Is this what you want? Charlie licked her lips and snaked her hand between our bodies. My mouth went dry when she stroked herself. 2 fingers disappeared inside her folds, and then she pulled them free and held the wet digits in front of me. What do you think? I wrapped my hand around her wrist and slid her coated digits into my mouth. The first taste of her hit my buds, a decadent, tangy delight, a mere sample that made me want it straight from the source. I glided her fingers in and out, slipping my tongue between them until I was satisfied they were clean, but I needed more. With that thought in mind, I walked her backward, out of the kitchen and over to the living room. Her fingers danced across my abdomen. Mine rested on her hips. Our gazes locked. Tiny circles and tentative movements as she inched upwards until she reached her intended target. As her hands went higher, so did my shirt and my heart rate. With my top removed, a giant smile graced her beautiful face. The heavy weight of arousal anchored between my legs. I let my fingers trail up and down her sides. We stood damn near eye to eye. Charlie wasted no time in palming my now exposed breasts. Using her thumbs, she made tiny circles around my taut nipples. I let my hands slip around the small of her back until they cupped her ass. My neglected libido went into overdrive when she dipped her head and drew one of my aching nipples into her mouth. Fiery wet heat made my pussy clench as she squeezed while flicking her tongue against the tight bud. The blood pounding through my veins thumped a rhythmic beat between my legs. Charlie switched sides. Her warm mouth lavished attention on one nipple while she pinched and tweaked the other. I slid one hand around, searching for and then finding the slickened prize between her legs. The heavenly velvet softness of her body surrounding me was almost too much to handle. Cool air hit my sensitive nipples when her mouth abandoned it, but her thumbs continued to make circles around the erect peaks. Moving my free hand up to the nape of her neck, I pulled her closer for another feverish kiss. Her low moans vibrated against my lips. In her silky warmth, my fingers glided back and forth with ease. The heady scent of arousal mingled in the air. I sucked her tongue and groaned when her heated palm squeezed my breast and pinched my nipples with practiced expertise. As her desire ran down my fingers and my own pulled in my panties, time for the slow tease had passed. I pulled away, and with a gentle shove, she fell backward onto the couch. I dropped to my knees in front of her and pushed her legs wider. My heart rate spiked at the sight of her open, ready, waiting. I dove in, curling my tongue upwards, licking her from bottom to top. The taste of her made my eyes flutter and my entire being hum with delight. In rapid fire, I flicked my tongue over her stiff bud. A strangled purr was my reward, and it was a fucking sexy as hell sound, one I needed to hear again. I made small circles between the parted soft folds and slowly slid in 2 fingers. Charlie lifted her hips, pushing her sweet pussy upward against my tongue. I pulled back to look at her, mouth parted, eyes half closed. She palmed and squeezed her breasts, tweaking her own nipples and moaning at the sensations created. I continued to stroke her as her walls constricted around my hand in waves. When I licked my lips, the essence of Charlie again hit my senses. My actions sped up as I moved my fingers in and out of her body. Bringing the stunning woman splayed out before me to climax became my driving need. I descended on her again, closing my lips around her stiff clit, sucking the tiny bud. Holy fuck! Charlie shifted and propped her feet up on the couch. The move opened her to me, increasing my access to all things gloriously Charlie. Blood pounded hot in my ears, leaving me lightheaded and dizzy, drunk on pleasure. My own panties were soaked, and the throbbing need between my legs pumped with the rapid beat of my heart. Her breathing turned to pants, and low whimpers poured from her lips. I needed to see, to watch her come undone, to watch and know that I was the reason for it. Charlie arched her back, and I kept pace, moving my digits within her body. I used my other hand to add pressure to her swollen clit, rubbing in fast circles. She rotated her hips in rhythm to my actions. Faster she went until she stopped. Her legs shook and she let out a long, drawn-out groan. A tidal wave of vibrations accompanying her orgasm clenched around my fingers. My chest heaved, the action scraped my aching nipples against the cushion and served to drive my need higher. I gave a slight pinch to her clit, which made Charlie thrash and pump her hips upward. Key, oh God. I kept finger fucking her. The steady rocking in sync with my movements offered encouragement. She wanted more just as much as I wanted to give it to her. The second hit, her legs gave out and drooped off the edge of the couch. She shook her head from side to side as her body jerked with short convulsions. With a parting kiss and a final swipe to her sex, I removed my fingers and moved up to sit beside her. She collapsed into my lap and draped a weak arm across her face, covering her eyes. I traced the outline of her areola and she shuddered from the touch. Fucking hell, Key.
Okay, y'all, welcome back. Kenrya, thank you again for your lovely reading of this story. Girl.
Yeah.
So, did you get my text message I sent you?
Oh, this bitch, this is filthy. Yes, I did.
Yes.
It is, and it's a short. So
it's a short,
like,
and it's literally
it's
like
filth. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It was great. So do you want to do what happened?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So what's her Key? That's her name? Is she, she's an EMT, she lives alone. Kiki, she's living her life. And her best friends, a very close guy friend's sister, is moving to town because she got an internship, a prestigious kind of internship, and needs a place to stay. And so she is hospitable, and she lets her come stay with her. Unbeknownst to her, old girl has a crush on her, and it turns into some more shit.
Okay, so as Kenrya described, this story it's everything a woman needs. It's a short story. So it is back to back to back. And I listened to the audiobook, which was another reminder of why we do this podcast. Because I was like, whoa. It was, and Meka just writes the sex so she's really good. You can tell it's a woman writing about women's bodies, right? Mm-hmm. It was just, bitch. I was, and I like shorts. I'm sorry, what you say?
No, I just say it was a good one.
Oh yeah. I like shorts because it kind of cuts out some of the back and forth and we get down.
You're like, ow, fuck all that will they, won't they? Let's get to the yes they will.
Exactly. I don't like tension and all that. I mean, but even the way she wrote, I don't have my nails done. I'm getting them done tomorrow. Even the way she wrote about the anticipation and the wanting and the girl. Mm-hmm. Meka, you my boo. And this one is definitely going in my for a lonely night repertoire. Okay. So I have this written in all caps. It's much later in the story. But the scene where they have sex in the shower, and the first thing they do is get shower caps out.
Bitch. Yeah. And she handed her hers, and then she went and looked for it extra because she knew it was going to be down there.
I was just like, damn, this shit black. I literally have this in all caps, shower caps.
Because ain't nobody just getting their hair wet. No, thank you.
Because sometimes you get out of the situation because you're like, this shit ain't right. How you gonna wake up with makeup on? How you gonna have sex in the shower? Especially because she got locked. So then you got to spend the next 3 days drying them bitches out.
Your shit out.
Girl, I was just like, oh, this is great. And then she said at one point she was like the sound of the rain, the sound of the shower on her.
Up against the shower cap.
It was just so yo,
authentic.
This bitch is writing her ass off. So good pick, killer.
It just felt very real. Very real.
Yeah. So we all know that my love language, my love expression is flirt. No, it ain't even a love language. I just flirt, right?
You just flirt, bitch.
Yeah, I
Old
can't even
people,
call it a love
dogs,
language.
babies.
Exactly. Like, I can't even call it a love language because love language makes it seem special. I flirt with everyone, like everybody.
Yes.
But when the first part of the story where they're, like, where not, I want to say Mika, where Charlie, which was a great name for the character, where Charlie showed up and was like kind of dropping hints to Kiki.
Yeah, but Kiki was like, I can't tell, is she flirting with me or is she just being sweet? Did she just rub up
Exactly.
against me? Was that on purpose?
Girl, that I have you been in situations like that where you're like, what's happening here?
I have. I mean, I'm remembering it most vividly like in college with niggas who thought they was slick. You know what I mean? Like the little the boob rub, but you passed a little bit too close behind me situation.
Oh my God, that shit in
I
the
can't
club.
say that I've
Skew me,
experienced.
skew me.
Oh, I don't want your dick
Yeah.
on my back. But yeah,
Exactly.
like I can't remember it in recent times because I think this is too grown. But like absolutely when I was younger, not being able and also not being able to tell. I mean, shit, I ended up on a couple of dates and didn't know they was dates until halfway through. So that's my own problem.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely have had situations where one, I was flirting and the person didn't realize that, like, nigga, I flirt with everybody. You ain't special. Cause I'm also a closed mouths don't get fed on this boulevard kind of bitch where like I make it plain. Ain't no will they, won't they with me. I mean, like, hey, you, come here.
Same at this big age, for sure, for sure. But
Yeah,
I've never really been a flirter, I don't think. I've always just either been direct or didn't say shit. And when I was younger, it was very much, oh, you gonna have to start this off. Because I felt like if you didn't have the balls to like say how you felt, then I just act like it ain't happened. And I'm still that way. If you listen.
Girl, I was in the car with my kid and he's like, what's that? And I'm like, what's what? What's that? And so I see the bug. And then at this point, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see it. What are you talking about?
Right.
That right there. I said, oh, what do you think it is? A bug? So then why did you ask me? Like,
nigga. Yeah.
Girl, I am trying my best to avoid.
You know what I say? What I say all the time when this little person does things like that? I say, okay, so what would you like me to do about it? Like, I want her to plainly, like, for real, okay, think about it. Now, you just brought this thing to my attention. Tell me what it is that you want. Ask for what you want. Don't expect me to read your mind. Don't be passive aggressive. Don't drop. No. Tell me exactly what it is that you want me to do right now.
Oh,
teaches her problem solving and teaches her to open her mouth and speak up for herself.
Yep. That's one of those things that my ex is working on with my son right now. He like sends him to, sends him into the store by himself or lets him walk down to McDonald's and that kind of thing. He goes to get his hair cut alone because there's like a little barber shop right next to the
there.
He did that shit this past time and came back. His shit looked the exact same. Like the exact same. Like not even on some like I got my shit shaped up. Like what?
So like, did you pinch the bitch? Like
he's like, I'm letting my hair grow out. I'm like, all right. But he hates getting that like edge up in the front because it like tickles him or something. I don't know. But I'm like, look, bro.
That's funny.
But you know what? That ain't my problem. Not my problem. Closed mouths don't get fed on this boulevard. And I like, to me, it's like sexy when a man can articulate, like says, I want you. I like you. I want to develop something with you. Like in this world of like milquetoast ass niggas, Milquetoast ass niggas. Yeah, like I need you to
Yeah.
be bold
Speak
about
up.
what you want. Yeah. So I
Yeah, which
thought
is
that
what
was
was dope about Charlie. Charlie was like, this is how I feel. This is what I want. Let's go.
yes. But
Yeah.
Charlie was as a character, you could tell that's who she was. Like she was Kenrya.
Mhm.
She planned and
Mm,
thought and researched
she
the
did.
fuck out of things. And I was just like, oh wow, this is how planning can be sexy.
Mm-hmm.
It was, yeah, I thought that was dope as hell. I mean, since we're gonna go there, we might as well jump to that part. Um, the scene where where they were using the toys.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, so, and of course, that made me think of you because she pulled out a whole chest.
Yes. Okay. So the scene where they're using the toys, I loved it because one, Charlie talked about like how she had this stuff and she likes this stuff, but this stuff ain't for everybody else. She has to like feel like she can trust
Mm-hmm.
you and into using this shit on her, which is a very real
Yeah.
thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
I
And
know,
she hadn't trusted anybody up to that point either.
yeah, because I mean, it's a lot to be able to like let somebody like fucking handcuff you to a pole butt naked. Like,
Mhm.
I gotta trust this nigga, or trust that they're gonna, stop when you say to stop, or when you yell Rufus.
Mhm.
Is it Rufus?
Yeah, it was Rufus.
Yeah, you gotta like, it takes a lot, and so I love that part. But then when she asked Kiki what she asked her, am I giving it away? Can I tell her? Can I tell it?
I don't know what she's
Okay.
going to say.
Well,
Go ahead.
so they have sex with some toys, and then they when they're
Oh,
done,
okay. I'm sure you're
when
gonna
they're
say. Yeah.
finished, like not first. Again, great because it showed like the talks. We just talked in another episode about how like you're supposed to talk about sex so that everyone is satisfied. And
Mhm.
this was a good conversation. It wasn't awkward or anything like that. It was just, oh, so you like that? Tell me more. And Charlie
Mhm.
was like, I like it. I've been researching it, but I ain't never found nobody to do it with. And I was just
Yeah.
like, yo, that's dope. Like and I think I keep saying I want to do more research about this, more reading about this, but I keep reading in places that BDSM helps some people work through their trauma about coerced sex and that kind of thing. Trigger
Mhm.
warning.
I think we talked to Jasmine a bit about that when she was on too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I read that like a big part of it is being able to say, yes, no, I want this, I don't want that. And you're gaining control again. So,
Topping from the bottom. Yeah.
so, okay, maybe I'll do that. Yeah,
Uh-huh. And
I was
then-
just like, go, you
Oh,
go.
yeah. No, oh no, I was just saying you were like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I totally do that. Like when I've had situations, I mean, that is as a woman, that is how not as a woman, as a partner, that's how I tend to work in relationships. I have become a lot more direct, but I kind of grew up in one of those households where it's like, the man's the head, you're the neck and shoulders, and so you turn them around or some shit like that. So I've always kind of operated, me and my good old Midwest proverbs. A spider once told me. All
right, Anansi.
Yeah. But so that's something that's been programmed, like, let a man be a man and lead, but really you running the show and you just figure out ways to do it. But
it's funny. I don't think anyone's ever told me that before.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just thinking.
And then I grew up in a home with lots of really strong females. I grew up in a home with a lot of really strong women. And so, yeah, that's how we operated. Like, yeah, okay, this is what we're about to do, you know?
Right.
And I'm going to trick them into it. You know, I mean, like, they're going to say trick them, but essentially that's it. And the older I get,
there's some manipulation at hand.
yeah, the older I get and the more, you know, I think about relationships and what I want my relationships to look like, I recognize that I don't want that shit. Like, I shouldn't have to, like, trick you into doing some shit or, you know, like trick you into leading the family the way I want. Cause you gotta, you know, like, no, nigga, we gonna sit down together. We're gonna have a conversation. And then this is what we're gonna do. So all this goes back to topping from the bottom, because when I have been in relationships like that, I've always been like, well, okay, but don't you want to? All right. You know, so that term definitely hit home.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, I think we know that I just say what I want, and the niggas are, and we have conversations about the things that I said, and sometimes I have to apologize for the way that I say things because I don't have a whole lot of finesse when I say things. I just say them the way that they come to my brain sometimes. But they tend to be joint decisions. And the times when I have made unilateral decisions, I have been woman enough to, you know,
like,
back down off my shit. I'm trying. Yeah.
I might have made a mistake. And maybe not a mistake in the decision, but a mistake in unilaterally making the decision. So.
Making it. It was a mistake all the way around, but it's fine. I can admit that.
So the nipple clamps. The way she described
I love
it
me
in
a
a
good
light
nipple
tug
clamp.
and chain. Girl, I was like sitting there like, you gonna come back soon. It's gonna happen. Because she wrote it.
It will.
Yeah, but
I hope.
if not, evil pussy. She wrote it so well that it just, you felt it. It was just, this is like chef's kiss.
Yeah, it made me want to go. I haven't used mine in quite some time. It made me want to go dig them out because, like just that little, when you brush them, that sensation, like, oh my god, because it's so sensitive and takes so very little to shift the way that I was like, oh, I need to go dig out my clamps.
Yeah, you mentioning this chest made me laugh because more than her having the chest, her saying, I brought the chest with me because I don't need my mama to discover it when she doing a deep clean of my house. And when my aunt came to stay with me, I was like, she gonna be cleaning my house and she gonna run across some shit she ain't supposed to. But I was like, look, if you do, not my
stay
problem,
out my
right?
shit. You grown ass woman in your own house.
My shit. Exactly. I won't say it like that to her, I promise. Okay, so the biggest theme in this book is having, I was about to say overnight guests, being hospitable to people staying with you.
Yeah.
You touched on this a bit. Maybe this was in your, I feel I get our conversations mixed up because I've been doing a lot of editing lately. But you said, like, look, the idea of having somebody in my house ain't cool.
Yeah, it just makes me bare my teeth. I don't like it.
What's the longest somebody could stay with you?
Reasonably?
God damn.
5 days tops. That's even long.
5 days is
3?
a lot. Yeah.
Maybe 3. 5 is the longest that I can stay anywhere else. And even then, when I go home, I get a hotel room. I don't I don't do those.
Yeah, it's something about being able to just disconnect from even the people that you're supposedly visiting, you know?
For me, like one of my boundaries around going home is that I have to have a hotel room. So I have to have somewhere that I can go at the end of every day to get away from everybody. I love my folks and I go there so that I can see them, but I am a person who needs quiet and a person who enjoys solitude. And I really like being able to go sleep in a comfortable bed and not have to deal with people all night. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going to say
you
3 days.
So, my family is the type of family that like you're staying in a hotel? Like, why would you stay in a hotel? Like, they really get upset.
Mhm.
And it wasn't, I mean, it's not a problem because now my granny's house it's pretty much empty. And so I don't mind staying there because I have my own bed. It's my
Yeah.
granny's old bed. It's good and comfy. I got my own
Mhm.
bathroom, so that's fine. But like before, it was like, well, I'm gonna sleep on the couch and you can have my girl. If you don't just no, that's too
No.
many asses to be moving. Like,
Yeah, it's too
not
much.
at all.
My family felt a way when I first started doing it, but I was just like, I hear you, but this is what I need to do in order to be able to be comfortable when I come home. So I'll see you in the morning. I mean, that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. And also, yeah, because staying like I go to, you visit a bunch of people's houses.
Hmm.
And so then you're like, well, this person's here, this person's there. Well, I'm staying at this person's house, but I'm going to see this person later on. I just get to enjoy my free breakfast and
Yep.
head on someplace
You ain't
else.
got to try to
Head
get
on
back to
to,
somebody's house by a certain time or no shit like that. I enjoy it. I drop my kid off at my dad's because that's where she want to be, and that's great.
yep.
And I go do what the
Hmm.
fuck I want. And I visit all my aunties and see all my cousins. Because, of course, nobody's going to come to you. You got to make the circuit and go see everybody else, even though you just drove all the way to the Midwest. But okay. But then I get to go back to my room at the end of the night. And that is exactly how I like it.
Yeah. My granny's house
Yeah.
actually was the house where everyone would congregate. But now
Mm.
that she's gone, I do a lot more like going to see people,
Wow.
going to people's
Yeah.
houses. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Because usually I just sit
Yeah.
at the
See, my
kitchen table
grandparents
and eat everything.
and cook and eat. Yeah. My grandparents died when I was on my dad's side when I was much younger. So I ain't had never had a hub really. Like I just always go and I gotta go visit my mentors and I gotta go see all my aunties and I gotta see my cousins. I try to get my cousins to at least come to their parents' houses so I can see them and see their
Right.
parents at the same time. But that don't even always work because people got kids. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
So
And my cousins be like, well, just come to my house. We can smoke. I'm not trying to smoke and smoke out every time I go visit family. But I do appreciate it.
I mean, I'm about to say it sounds like they're being hospitable.
Yeah, I don't mind. They are being hospitable. Okay, so we talked about us going to visit other people, but what about people visiting you? Like, do you have any hard and
Yeah, no,
fast
3 days.
rules about?
I think 3 days is it, but I also don't have people come visit me very often. Like,
Yeah.
unless,
Yeah.
okay, let's put aside COVID. I don't really do those. I just don't like people in my house. I
Yeah.
like,
I understand.
you know how like you get to the end, like on Saturday, you was like, all right, I'm gonna go take a shower and get in my bed.
I did that.
Yeah, oh, you was drunk, but yes. He was like, I'm gonna get in my bed, butt naked, and enjoy the rest of my night. We was like, okay, girl, we leaving. Don't worry.
I saw that post that's been going around Instagram. It's like, how you gonna have a hot girl summer if you in bed by 10? And I'm like, nigga, that is a hot girl summer for a few reasons.
That means
One,
that you went hard all day.
hot girls get their full 8 hours, right? Second,
Mhm.
if I'm in bed by 10, that means I took a good hot shower. I did my face care routine. I'm in comfortable pajamas. It's not some like passing out shit. So yes, a true hot girl gets her 8 hours, takes care of her skin, removes her makeup.
Yeah, I like it. That's what's up.
Sorry. I went off on
Yeah,
a tangent.
I agree. That's what we do. When people are here, which again doesn't happen very often, I tend to spend more time in my room. Like I I like to be alone. I do. And I don't like coming out in common areas and there being people there. I ain't shit. Oh my God. Usually if somebody comes to stay, they stay for 2 or 3 days. Like our homegirl in Philly. Like when she comes down, I'm always ecstatic for her to be here. She's here for 2 or 3 days and then she goes home and it's perfect. We get to stay up and talk, after kids go to sleep. Like it's like the perfect amount of time. We have outings planned, like we do stuff and I very much enjoy her company. So it works out really, really well. I just feel like after too many days, stuff starts to drag out. And because I am somebody who can just sit here and be quiet all day, I think that doesn't work with everybody. But it also depends on the people, right? Like, my partner knows that I can sit here all weekend and I ain't got to say too much. And when I'm ready to take a nap, I'm going to push his computer over and I'm going to put my head down on his lap and I'm going to go to sleep. And he going to sit there and keep watching TV. And then we going to get up and we going to eat. And it's, it's because that's just me. I'm not you know what it is? I used to always tell my ex-husband when his girls would come over, my stepdaughters, he would always feel like he had to have activities and things. And like, I'm not that person. I'm you coming to chill? Oh, we finna chill. We finna talk. We about to have all the catch-up conversations. We gonna watch some movies together. We gonna look at our horoscopes. Like, I'll go through pictures that you've been meaning to show me. But everybody wants to be up and about and doing, and I don't want to do any of that. So I guess it just depends on the person. But I don't know. When do you max out? See, you have people over and you be all right, it seems like.
So I like people over and I have much bigger space. I don't have to share a bathroom with them. Like when I was in my old house, girl, we could have niggas there for...
Oh, nigga, you might not even know they was there.
Exactly. Like that has happened a few times. Like,
people could be in the basement and you would never know.
Strange car parked outside. Exactly. So I don't mind it. I enjoy entertaining. I enjoy having people at my house in my space. But like Killa has said, when I hit that point, it's a wrap. It is a wrap. And it's not even like a number of days. It's just like a number of hours in the day. All right.
Yeah.
We've had all our time together. You can do whatever you want, but I'm going into my room to my bed. So
yes.
It's not that bad.
I also do that. Yeah.
My grandpa was cool. My grandpa was good at that. He would just, y'all think he going to the bathroom, that nigga be in there knocked out asleep. And I might have done that too. But I'm also one of those people that like, if I'm hungry, if I'm sleepy, if I'm ready to go, that's what we're gonna do. I'm ready to go. I'm hungry, And I didn't.
How many functions have we snuck out of because I was ready to go when you was hungry and we just
like
backed away.
Let's go. We was like, everybody excited. The bottles came out. Perfect. Time to run.
We leave from homecoming parties. We leave from potlucks. We leave.
Girl, there's only certain people you can roll with. Because like our other girlfriend who has my little boyfriend, not boyfriend, but the son.
She got to say bye to everybody.
She got to say bye to everybody. And then she's like, it's just good. God.
Love her dearly.
And I'll be like,
but she ain't ready to go yet. And I'll be ready to.
Yeah. And then when you get her ready to go, then it's like, okay, so let me go say, but I gotta, girl, what about this? I remember one time we were trying to leave and she asked somebody about the paint on their walls. And they were like, oh, I got it downstairs.
Exactly like her.
So then they went downstairs and rummaged through paint cans and brought paint cans up. And then I was just like, girl, like.
That's her exactly in a story.
Girl.
Which is why we roll together because we can just get in the car and go.
Yeah. Look, I'm ready to go. I'm not ready to go. And we understand, okay, I'm gonna call an Uber.
Yeah.
Or
although I can't remember how many, we probably have never done that too many times, but still, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're independent and we are
come
allowed
and
to
leave together.
do that
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, but we generally come and leave together just because it's like, okay, we both know when we are about to max out.
Expire. Exactly.
Because Kenrya is usually tired of people and I'm usually tired of the food and want to go stop at Chick-fil-A on the way home or something. Yeah, my only, a few things. One, I realized that I have become that black mama that don't let my kid in my room. He keeps his laptop and cell phone in my bedroom at night because I caught him. My brother caught him in the middle of the night playing some game.
Yeah, I remember.
To which he asked him, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Going to get something to drink."
Listen, they be thinking we stupid.
I tell him all the time, I'm smarter than you. I'm smarter. You might be able to do a trigonomical equation, but I'm smarter than you. So he comes in my room just for that. But like, if I told that boy to get something out of my bathroom, he probably would be so confused. Because like, no, that's my space. You don't come in here.
Oh,
go
ahead.
So I'm like that with guests. You know, like, stay on my space.
I go in your room. I don't care.
Bitch, you don't count. Yeah. But I mean, like, yeah, it's generally with guests, it's like, nah, you ain't, Because I'd be quick to leave some drawers on the floor, not flush my toilet like your child. Like, it'd be, yeah. So that's
always your warning, because I always use your bathroom. Although I used your son's bathroom the other day and I just felt all discombobulated because I never do that, but I also had to pee really bad, and I was like,
well, actually, I cleaned my house really good and cleaned his bathroom because you know it's me.
I figured you did because but I would, and you'd be like, the toilet is damn,
damn.
You be like, your toilet, and I'd be like, no worries.
Yeah. So yeah, like I feel like I make my house comfortable enough for people to come visit, right? Mm-hmm. You have all your needs. When people came to take care of me, they had phone chargers, toothbrush, toothpaste, everything you need. Ain't no reason for you to come in my room. None whatsoever. So stay out of my damn room.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Also, I wake up early. Like, I'm up at the crack of dawn, and so you need to understand that. Yeah. I'm not gonna wake you up and bother you, but just know, like, I'm gonna be rustling around in the morning, which is also why I don't like staying at people's houses, because you know, I was that kid at a sleepover that was like waking up, sitting drinking coffee with their mama because everybody else was asleep. You know?
See, and I've always been the one that I'm worried that I'm going to sleep too long at somebody's house. But luckily, I never really get that comfortable at anybody else's house. So I guess it works out. But
that has something to do with it too. Like, I'm not, So.
Yeah. So I end up waking up. So it's fine. But yeah. Now, I am the same way with my room. I'm like, okay, common areas are for people.
Common areas are common for a reason.
I do let people who I'm close to use my bathroom just because it's cleaner than my kids' bathroom.
Girl, them kids' bathrooms be like a cesspool. And like at our old house, we legit had a guest bathroom
as soon as you came in,
But now the guest bathroom is my son's bathroom. And girl, kept passing, because of our custody schedule, he'll be gone for days at a time. And I kept passing his bathroom. I kept smelling Mr. Hanky.
Oh no.
Girl, I went in, I was like, what is this? Opened up the toilet. He had tried flushing it, but it like didn't flush off. Oh. Yeah. Girl, I was just like, oh, I'm so happy nobody came to visit. Because again, I keep a clean house.
Well, people are not going to judge you for your kids. Listen, it is what it is. This one cleaned. I went to take my walk in the morning and I came back. I was getting pictures as I was walking in that she was like vacuuming and she cleaned her toilet and she was very proud of herself. My bathroom is sparkling. And I'm like, good, because I didn't want to smell it. So I'm really glad that you did it before I had to tell you to get in there. I'm like, you old
Reader
enough
note,
now to keep
it
it
probably
clean.
wasn't sparkling. But we're proud of her nonetheless.
I am very proud because I didn't have to tell her to do it. She went in there and did it herself, and that is a big deal in and of itself. So, she 9.
Oof.
So.
Little nasty. Did Meka ever tell us what Charlie was an intern for?
I don't think so. I don't think we really got details into the program except for that it was like the first few weeks were like an audition to actually get the internship. Yeah, which was something that Charlie kept from everyone until she was settled
because she was like, "Y'all wouldn't let me go."
Yeah.
Okay, so Charlie's brother / Kiki's best friend. This dude was like a bit much when it came to protecting his little sister, right? I hate that shit because I find a lot of times, and it wasn't the case in this situation, I don't think, but I find a lot of the times most guys that are like super overprotective of their sisters and daughters, like don't want them running into a nigga like them. Right?
Yeah, it's usually because they trash and they know that there's other trash out there.
And they got trash ass homeboys, so all they see are trash ass niggas, and they be afraid of that, right? I think in this situation, it was more of a I don't want my sister's heart to be broken. Yeah, because they kind of said that when they mentioned that they were dating. But yeah, I mean, I grew up in a family with a lot of strong women. I have an older brother. I have older cousins. Occasionally they try to be like, do that big brother shit. But then I'm like, no. My brother don't even know how to do it. He's like, I'm like, no. Okay, yes, sis. He don't even know how to do that shit properly, which I appreciate because it's like, come on now. Yeah. And as a mother of a son.
It always... What?
You go. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say it's just always kind of creepy to me, like because it comes down to this whole treating your younger person, your sibling like this possession, this thing that you hold and that you get to gatekeep, and it just feels weird to me. Like especially when it's a girl who you're treating that way, because so often, folks who are assigned female are treated in this way as if we're someone to pass on from one person to another. Like it's your brother's job to pass them, to give their approval and pass them on to this other person. Well, nigga, I'm a whole person. I get to make this decision. So that always bothers me.
Yeah. I agree. I remember at my wedding, I was like, I don't want nobody to give me away. Like nobody's giving me away. So my oldest brother walked me down the aisle, but then he stopped. And then I went to my ex-husband because I was like, nah, I got bills in my name. Like ain't no motherfucking way somebody giving me away. Like if you giving me away, you taking the shit that existed before I got gave. Cause I don't like that. And I do think that there's a difference between just, solidly caring about your sibling versus
that weird
deflower my girl or whatever. Yeah.
That's like it's like around prime time right now, and we they've been posting those the guns and the creepy ass white people.
And as the mother, I was about to say
daughter thing.
Yeah, as a mother of a young boy, like I'd be goddamn if he show up and spent all his little money, his coins on getting a little girl, taking somebody to prom, and taking somebody to prom, and their parents shows up with some guns and pictures and shit. I
like,
honey,
what the fuck? This is violent.
Yeah. No, you ain't gonna do that shit. Yeah. So, I mean, people think it's cute, but no, thank you. I'll pass.
It's really, really
okay. Well, You got anything else to say other than untwist the face?
No, oh no, that was me thinking.
Oh, okay. He was like,
I was trying to think if there was anything else that I wanted to talk about in this episode. No, I think we covered it.
covered all the bases.
We
All right,
did,
well,
we did.
now we are going to after a short break, we will go to our next segment.
What's turning us on?
Jesus Christ. Like, we gotta be.
Bitch, I did it.
Okay. All right, y'all. We'll be back.
Hey, y'all. Today's a great day to start your own podcast. Whether you're looking for a new marketing channel, have a message you want to share with the world, or just think it'd be fun to have your own show like us, podcasting is an easy, inexpensive, and fun way to expand your reach online. And Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show gets put online and listed in all the major podcast directories like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, literally everything, within minutes of finishing and uploading your recording. We use it here for the Turn On, and I can truly attest to the fact that it's pretty fucking dope. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and the team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. So join over 100,000 podcasters like us who are already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Just click the link in our show notes and you'll be able to get your own account set up. And if you sign up for a paid plan, you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card and support our show. Let's create something great together. Sign up for Buzzsprout today.
Okay, also, welcome
And
back to our next segment, What's Turning Us On? See, you gotta, anyway.
Yes, that's what this
Kenrya got
is.
something to show y'all.
She's the worst. Okay, so what's turning us on this week is this card game, and it like kept coming up in my like Facebook feed. You know how they keep feeding you shit over and over again, and this shit coming up on IG too, because if it's on one, it's on the other. And I had been thinking about buying it for a while, and so finally I was like, fuck it, let's do it. And I'm really glad that I did. So it's this card game. It's got 199 questions. And the point is for you to sit with your partner and ask the questions and get the answers. And we did it. So we've played this game once in the evening before I got too sleepy to be able to sit up and be coherent. And it's got questions in a bunch of different categories, like money questions, longevity questions, questions that look back on your history before that person and with that person, sex questions, all kinds of stuff. And for the most part, like there were some questions that were a little weird. Like there was one that was, how do you know that I can support you? And it felt super presumptuous. Like, one, it presumes that I do think that you can support me. Two, it presumes that I want you to support me. So, you know, we had some where we kind of rephrased them for ourselves and then answered them. But like, then there were questions like, you know, the things that we always talk about, you should be talking about with your partner. And part of why I like this is because I think that there are some folks who really do need those prompts to have those, you know, more not difficult but challenging conversations, things that are beyond the surface. So things that you should be talking about, like, how often would you like to be having sex? Do you think we have enough? Do you not? Right. Things like, how much money do you think we need to be able to be stable? Do you think we'll be together in 15 years? What's some other ones here? How is your upbringing different than mine? And how does that affect the way that you show up in our relationship? Yeah. So we sat and probably went through maybe 20, 25 questions, just kind of answering them. It was interesting to see like where we had the same answers, where we diverged. There was one, it was like, what do you think that I think is my best trait?
Oh, wow.
Like shit like that. Yeah. So then we like, you know, we both answered it, but then we also answered what we actually think our best traits were. And so it was really interesting to like get inside his head and give him a peek and things that we might not have thought to ask each other. And then when we finished, it was like, all right, let's have sex. We talk a lot about how intimacy is not just sex. It was it fostered this really intimate conversation and then made us want to get even more intimate when we were done. So yeah, it was very turn-on-y. I very much enjoyed the experience, and it's so many cards. I mean, like I said, we only made it through maybe 25 of them, so we got another fucking almost 274 cards to get through. So
174.
It's fun.
You said it's
yes. You're right.
Okay.
Yep, that's better math.
Well, thank you for sharing that. We will include a link to purchase that in our show notes. And with that, this is Kenrya and Erica and Killa, your two favorite hosts, making it clap.
Making it clap. This episode was produced by us, Kenrya and Erica, and edited by Ballistic. The theme music is from Brazy. Hit subscribe right now in your favorite podcast app and at youtube.com/The Turn On Podcast so you'll never miss an episode.
Then follow us on Twitter at The Turn On Pod and Instagram at The Turn On Podcast. And you can find links to books, transcripts, guest info, what's turning us on, and other fun stuff at theturnonpodcast.com.
And don't forget to email us at theturnonpodcast@gmail.com with your book recommendations and your pressing sex and related questions.
And you can support the show by leaving us a 5-star review, buying some merch, or becoming a patron of the show. Just head to theturnonpodcast.com to make that happen.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon. Holla.